The first time I ever held my son, the nurse placed him in my arms and said, "He's perfect, Mrs. Carter." I was 25, widowed for exactly 11 days, and the hospital lights were too bright. I remember thinking that perfect was too small a word for the weight of him against my chest. I promised him, right then, that I would build a world big enough for both of us. 47 years later, I stood in the lobby of that world and watched my daughter-in-law call me the help. Coastal Paradise Resort, Miami Beach. Mile marker 1247 of a road that began with a single bed and breakfast in Savannah and a widow who scrubbed toilets at 3 a.m. so her little boy could have new shoes. 17 properties. 3 states. A payroll of 312 souls who called me Mrs. Renee or, in private, Mama Renee. I had arrived the night before wearing the same navy blazer I wore to board meetings, but I left it hanging in the closet. I wanted to be just grandma for once. I wanted Jay to see me without the shadow of money between us. I should have known better. They pulled up in Jay's black Escalade at 4:17 p.m. Valentina stepped out first, white linen dress, oversized sunglasses, the kind of effortless that costs thousands. Jay followed, carrying nothing. Valet took the keys, bellhop took the bags, and I, apparently, was supposed to take whatever scraps of attention they tossed my way. Inside the lobby, the air smelled of sea salt and tuberose, the signature scent I'd chosen myself. Jasmine's eyes found me across the marble. I gave the tiniest shake of my head. Not yet. Jay spoke first. Carter. Penthouse. Jasmine's fingers danced over the keys. Deluxe coastal suite, oceanfront, 12th floor. The penthouse is occupied, sir. Valentina's smile went sharp. Unoccupy it. I opened my mouth to smooth things over old habits, when Valentina whirled on me like I'd spilled red wine on her dress. Don't talk to the old woman, she snapped at Jasmine. She's just the help. The words landed between us like a gunshot. Jay laughed. Not a nervous chuckle. A full, rich belly laugh, the same one he used at 12 when I tried to teach him the waltz in our tiny kitchen and stepped on his toes. Val, you're terrible, he wheezed, wiping his eyes. Mom, go sit down. Let us handle this. I felt every pair of eyes in that lobby turn toward me. Phones lifted. Someone whispered, "World star waiting to happen." Jasmine's face had gone the color of printer paper. She knew. Every employee in that building knew who I was. One word from me and Valentina would be out on Ocean Drive before her spray tan dried. I said nothing. I picked up my weekender bag, genuine leather, but scuffed from decades of use, and walked to the elevator. My spine never bent. That night I sat on the balcony of room 1204 and watched the moon pull silver threads across the Atlantic. I was 72 years old, worth $43 million, and my own child had just laughed while his wife called me trash. I cried until there was nothing left but salt. Day 2 began with a text from Jay. Spa 9 to 1. Pool after. Kids need lunch at noon sharp. THX. No please. No emoji. Just orders. I put on the sundress I'd bought special for this trip, soft blue, the color of Jay's eyes when he was small, and went to find my grandchildren. Zuri and Deshawn sat at a table for 6, tablets glowing, earbuds in. Valentina had dressed them like catalog kids, Zuri in a monogrammed cover-up, Deshawn in miniature Gucci slides. They looked up when I approached. Hi, babies, I said. Zuri's eyes flicked to me, then away. Mom says you're the babysitter today. Deshawn didn't even look up. She says you used to clean toilets. The words hit harder than Valentina's had. Because they came from a child's mouth. Because they were practiced. Because someone had taught them to say it. I spent 6 hours poolside, reapplying SPF 50 every 60 minutes exactly, cutting grapes into perfect quarters, pretending I didn't notice the side eyes from other grandmothers who actually got hugged. When Jay and Valentina finally strolled up, glowing from massages and mimosas, Valentina inspected Zuri's shoulders like a drill sergeant. Good. No burn. Maybe you're not totally useless. Jay ruffled Deshawn's hair. We're hitting South Beach tonight. You're on duty till 10. I smiled the way I smiled at hostile takeovers. Of course. That night I transferred $50,000 out of the account I kept for their emergencies and into a new one titled Renee Carter Revocable Trust. Then I called my attorney. Day 3, I woke before sunrise. I walked the beach alone, barefoot, letting the cold Atlantic shock the ache out of my chest. At 7:03 a.m. I was in the kids' club watching Zuri build a lopsided sandcastle with a little boy who actually laughed when she laughed. At 10:12 a.m. I was behind a palm tree outside Cabana 9, listening to my son explain why inheriting my imaginary poverty would be such a hassle. At 10:14 a.m. I stopped being their mother and started being their reckoning. I waited until they'd ordered a third round of Aperol spritzes. Then I walked straight into the cabana, sundress fluttering like a battle flag. Afternoon, I said. Foreheads swiveled. Valentina's glass froze halfway to her collagen lips. Renee, Jay started, standing too fast, this is private. I own private, I said. I own the cabana. I own the liquor in your glass. I own the sand under your overpriced flip-flops. The other couple, Brenda and Mark, I'd learn later, looked like they'd swallowed jellyfish. Valentina recovered first. You're embarrassing yourself. Security. I smiled. Already here. Jasmine appeared with 2 uniformed officers and Marcus, my head of security, all 6'5" of him. Mrs. Carter, Jasmine said, loud enough for the entire pool deck to hear, how may we assist you? Valentina's face went the color of watered-down Merlot. Jay tried next. Mom, let's talk somewhere. No, I pulled the folder from my tote. We're done talking. We're doing math. I laid the papers on the teak table like a royal flush. Itemized. Mortgage supplement, 108 months, $237,600. Private school tuition, both children, $412,000. Valentina's Amex Black, last 36 months, $189,417. This week's incidentals, so far, $11,236. Total, $850,253. Jay's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Valentina found her voice. This is blackmail. No, I said. Blackmail is when you threaten to expose something shameful. This is just receipts. I turned to Jasmine. Please move Mr. and Mrs. Carter to the Hibiscus Suite, room 312. Standard Queen. They'll be checking out tomorrow at noon. Bill every charge to the card on file. And cancel the spa for the rest of their stay. Valentina lunged for the papers. Marcus stepped forward. She froze. You can't, she whispered. I already did. I looked at my grandchildren, who had wandered over, confused. Zuri, Deshawn, come here. They came. Slowly. I knelt so we were eye to eye. Grandma owns 17 hotels, I said gently. This one is my favorite. I built it so little girls could build sandcastles and little boys could chase waves. Not so mommies could be mean. Zuri's lip trembled. Are we in trouble? Only if you grow up thinking love is something you earn by being quiet. I stood. Jay, I said, you have until tomorrow to decide if you're my son or her husband. You can't be both anymore. I turned to leave. Valentina's voice cracked across the pool deck. You'll die alone, you bitter old hag. I didn't flinch. I buried my husband at 25, I called back. I've been alone before. It's peaceful. That night the Hibiscus Suite got loud. Doors slammed. Valentina screamed for 20 straight minutes. Jay never raised his voice once. At 11:47 p.m. my phone buzzed. Jay, can we talk? Me, room 312. Doors unlocked. He came alone. Hair uncombed, eyes red. He stood in the doorway like a schoolboy called to the principal. Mom, he started. Sit. He sat on the edge of the desk chair. I stayed standing. I'm not asking for forgiveness, I said. I'm offering you a choice. You can leave here tomorrow with your family and figure out how to be a man without my money. Or you can stay, send Valentina home alone, and spend the rest of the week learning who your mother actually is. Not the fairy tale you told your friends. The real woman. He stared at his shoes. I didn't know, he whispered. About the hotels. About any of it. You never asked. Silence stretched like a tightrope. I chose her, he said finally. Every time. I chose being comfortable over being kind. Yes. He looked up. I don't know how to fix this. You start by telling your children the truth. Then you decide if you're brave enough to tell your wife no for the first time in 10 years. He left without another word. The next morning, Valentina checked out alone. She wore last night's dress and no sunglasses. The valet said she tipped him a crumpled $5 and cried in the Uber all the way to the airport. Jay stayed. For 6 days we did what I had dreamed of. We built sandcastles that reached my knees. We ate conch fritters from a truck and let the juice run down our chins. We snorkeled off Key Biscayne and Deshaun saw his first sea turtle and screamed so loud the guide laughed till he cried. Every night Jay asked one question about the business. Just one. I answered honestly. By day 4 he stopped calling me Mom and started calling me Mrs. Carter in front of staff, the way they did. Out of respect. On the last night we sat on my balcony, penthouse, because of course I moved them there, and watched a storm roll in over the water. I'm selling the Escalade, he said quietly. Putting the kids in public school. Valentina's moving into the guest room until she finds a job. I nodded. I don't expect you to pay for anything ever again, he said. Good. He hesitated. Can I still call you sometimes? Only if you call me Renee. Mothers who get laughed at in lobbies lose the right to be mom for a while. He swallowed hard. Yes, ma'am. The storm broke. Rain lashed the glass like thrown gravel. Jay reached for my hand. I let him take it. I'm proud of you, he whispered. I wish I'd said it sooner. I squeezed once. Say it tomorrow. And the day after that. Words are cheap, baby. Time isn't. They flew home coach. I upgraded their seats with miles because old habits die hard, but I made Jay pay me back. He Venmo'd me from the gate, $312.47 exactly. 3 months later I got a text. A photo of Jay in a navy blazer 2 sizes too big, standing outside a community college registration office. Caption, night classes start Monday. Accounting 101. Wish me luck, Renee. I smiled so wide my cheeks hurt. I still haven't spoken to Valentina. Rumor is she's selling designer handbags on Poshmark to cover rent. Sometimes Justice looks like a woman in a second-hand blazer learning who she is without her mother-in-law's credit card. Sometimes, Grace looks like a 72-year-old widow. A woman who finally learned to close the door on people. Who only loved the idea of her. I still walk the beach every morning. The staff waves. Guests stop me for selfies. They've seen the video. The one that hit 42 million views. Grandma clap back. I always stop. I always smile. Because I know something they don't. The strongest revenge isn't making them tremble. It's refusing to tremble, yourself. If this story touched your heart, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to May's Heart Stories. Your support means more than you know.